This has Panthers fans very concerned with the team coming home for game number 3 being down 0-2 in the series. What is it that is concerning fans? I'll tell you in just a second. And also, what about Bob? What is going on with the Panthers goaltender in between the pipes? He's been letting some of these easier shots get by him. He hasn't looked as sharp. Is something going on with Sergei Bobrovsky? Well, we're going to dive into that in just a second. Man, what a horrible loss last night. But guys, thank you for joining me on this episode of Panthers Digest. I'm your host, Greg Andrews. Subscribe down below, hit that button so you can stay up to date with all the news, injuries, pre and post game analysis, anything and everything that has to do with your defending Stanley Cup champion, Florida Panthers. Guys, it's not time to panic yet. If they go down in this series 0-3, it might be. But we're not there yet. Toronto has been playing very solid hockey. They've been a step ahead of the Panthers. And I'm not saying the Panthers haven't been playing pretty solid hockey. They've been doing well, but they haven't been playing up to par for where they should technically be in the series right now. They did expect to probably split that series in Toronto, and maybe they should have last night. There were questionable calls, like the embellishment call on Rodriguez, which was totally bogus. He got smashed against the boards. Yeah, it might not have been the hardest hit, but still, what do you expect the guy to do? He got pancaked against the wall. So that didn't help them in the end of that game. And then we're going to get into a few other stats that I believe are the deciding factors moving forward and possibly in what happened last night with why the Panthers just were not able to hold the lead and get the W at the end of the day and split that season. Split the series so far and come home 1-1 instead of being down 0-2. But thank goodness they are coming home. Amerant Bank Arena tomorrow night, guys. Everybody better show up there in their red and cheer as loud as they can because the Panthers are going to need it. And man, I think they're going to come out looking like a different team. But before we start talking about all of this stuff, I do want to say and put some things to rest here. Stop talking about the Panthers being dirty. They're not dirty. They're a physical team. That's their brand of hockey. Put the Bennett hit with Stolarz behind you guys. Watch my last episode. If you really want to look at it and say that it's a dirty hit, that's your opinion, okay? But look at my last episode, and I go over the different rules and some analysis and things in terms of talking about Bennett being left-handed. There are factors there of reason why it looked the way that it did, but it wasn't intended to hurt Stolarz, especially when he got hit in the head with a puck by Reinhart in the first period, and then he got nudged by his own defenseman a little later after that. So put that all to rest, guys. The Panthers are not a dirty team. They just play a very physical style of hockey, okay? They're never trying to be out there to injure anybody, all right? So, well, yeah, here we go. Lost 4-3. We are down 0-2 in the series. I'm not panicking, though. I've got faith in this team. They have come forward and won when they have been down. Last year they did it. The year prior, they did that. The last 2 years that they've made the Stanley Cup and last year when they won it, they did face some adversity. They were resilient, and they were able to pull through and win series. Do not count them out. Do not have any sort of this kind of malaise attitude that, oh, well, you know what? Oh, that's going to be it. Guys, this is usually how series go. Home teams usually will pull away, especially with Toronto being as fired up as they are, and that building was rocking in those first 2 games. And I'm telling you, that definitely helps their team when it comes to trying to pull away. But one of the things we're going to go over right now are the stats from last night as well as from game number 1. And I want you guys to take a look at something. This is from last night. We outshot them 28-20, but look at the hits. We're going to compare from last night to the previous game. Toronto was a lot more physical. A lot more physical in this game with 41 hits. They actually out-hit the Panthers, which is pretty much unheard of because the Panthers have more hits than any team right now. Well, I'm not going to say that because they haven't played as many games as some of the other teams who might have more hits, but still, Average-wise, I think they do have the most hits per game. The other thing here is look at the face-off win percentage, guys. You're not gonna be winning games if you're not able to at least go 50-50 inside the circle. They're allowing the Leafs to get 63% of their face-off wins. That's not good, especially if you're in your offensive zone trying to control the puck. Like it worked with Barkov on the power play when he scored, and it was a beautiful setup, an amazing shot by Barkov, went right past wall. Phenomenal. That's how you draw it up. That's how you come out of come out there and take that face off, get it in your possession. But other than that, it was just, oh man. Barkov has been 50% inside the circle right now for the series. That's not really who he is. He's usually higher than that, around 60%. So, not good if you're really trying to win games. The other thing here is look at the block shots in the bottom there, 25 for Toronto and 8 for the Panthers. Toronto is putting a wall in front of Wall and Stolars. That's what they're doing. I mean, yeah, it has some benefits. It also can have some downside to it where you're technically screening your own goalie at times, but they're sacrificing their body, guys. That's helping him. Imagine if you take away 12 of those block shots and they make their way to Wall. I can almost guarantee you 1 or 2 of those pucks probably would find the back of the net. And then the Panthers would come away with a win. But that's the way Toronto is playing. They're playing with our defenders, our guys are going to stand in front of the net and try to create a wall of bodies so that way the puck can't find its way to our goaltender. And that is the thing. They've averaged just about 24 and a half, 25 block shots in the last 2 games. And the Panthers, 9.5. The Panthers have to step up their game in terms of playing better defense, and they have to do a better job in terms of when they're aggressive on the forecheck. Again, it's kind of a double-edged sword. When you're really aggressive on the forecheck, you run the risk of counters and being in a position where you're going to give the other team an odd man rush. And it happened many times last night. That's one of the reasons why the Panthers didn't pick up the win. That's why every time that they scored, Toronto countered, because we were aggressive with our forecheck. That's our game. It's great. But you're allowing Toronto to come right back, odd man rush, and that's what killed us yesterday. That's what hurt us in game 1 as well. We're aggressive in the forecheck, but maybe we need to take a different look at things and start running our defense. And instead of being super aggressive with the forecheck, maybe calm it down a little bit. One of the other things too is the Maple Leafs just look faster. I think they are faster. Every time I see Mikkola trying to go back to get a puck into our defensive zone, I always see one of the Maple Leafs hauling butt back, trying to get into their offensive zone, and they're catching up to Mikkola, it feels like. And we were sloppy handling the puck last night. I think our passing wasn't very good. They were turning the puck over at some of the worst spots in the ice, like near their own blue line or just outside of their own blue line. I mean, it wasn't Panthers hockey. The passes didn't look crisp. And the Leafs looked like the puck literally, I've said this before, was bouncing. Everything was bouncing their way. And that is part of hockey games. The puck will bounce the way for some teams sometimes, and last night it really did. So it did the same thing. In game number 1 as well, and it's been tough pickings for the Panthers, and they had a lot of chances last night. And I'm not going to say Wall wasn't great. I would say he was right when they needed him to be, especially with that stop on Samoskevich when he just got his toe on the puck. When it looked like Samoskevich pretty much had a wide open goal, he got his toe on the puck, knocked it up and out of the rink and right into the net. And that could have been the equalizer for the Panthers, but nope. So look, this is game number 1, guys. What do you see here? Shots are pretty much equal. The Panthers were a hell of a lot more physical. Again, face-offs. You're not going to do well in a game when you're allowing your opponent to get 60% of the face-offs, especially if they're in their offensive zone or you're on the power play, and the other team is winning. That's the shining moment for the Panthers. Is if they're on the power play, they should be able to win those face-offs, get possession, try to keep the puck in the zone, but they are not doing a great job of doing that. They're not. They're doing well on the power play, all things considered. They're 40%, 2 of 5. And Toronto is 1 of 8 at 12.5%. So they are still doing great in the penalty kill. Power play is doing well. So those things are working. But again, block shots, look, 24 for Toronto, 11 for the Panthers. And they keep getting these terrible penalties. My gosh. It's like we just can't stop. We just can't stop. Tripping. My God. Oh, it's been frustrating to watch these games because all these things are happening to the Panthers, and it's just like, they just can't get out of their own way sometimes. But the biggest shocker, where are the stars? Where's Matthew Tkachuk? Where's Sam Reinhart? Barkov showed up last night for 1 goal. Where's Carter Verhaeghe? Sam Bennett? I'm going to give you some numbers right now. So Barkov is 50% winning inside the face-off circle. Okay? Verhaeghe in game 1, he had 2 assists and 5 shots. In game number 2, he had 1 shot. Reinhart, game 1, really no stats. Game 2, he had 1 shot. He's really not doing much. Tkachuk, outside of his first game back in the Lightning series, he really hasn't, I'm not going to say he's been a non-factor. I mean, the mental edge, he still has that super high hockey IQ, but he hasn't really done much. He's got 1 assist in the series. And then Bennett, he's got a 27% face-off win percentage right now. Not very good. Not very good. The line that has been working is that third line, guys. The Lundell, Lustranen, and Marchand line. They have been the shining piece of this Panthers team so far, and their defense as well. Their defense has been great. In game 1, that third line had 1 goal and 3 assists. In game 2, they had 2 goals and 3 assists. So that's 3 goals and 6 assists so far in this series for that third line. They're playing great together, and I think that is the game-changing line for the Panthers as it is right now. Because, yes, they said it in the broadcast that the first lines kind of canceled each other out for the Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs, even though the Maple Leafs have been doing a lot better, especially because of William Nylander. And we will talk about him in just a second, especially what Paul Maurice had to say. But also, the Panthers' defense has been great. In game 1, they had 2 goals and an assist. In game number 2, 2 assists. They have 2 goals and 3 assists in the series. Pretty decent numbers for defensemen, okay? But so far in this series, as things sit right now, it's looking like it's a little more in favor of the Toronto Maple Leafs. But I'm not counting out the Panthers. I'm not going to panic. Really not going to. They're going to come back here. They're going to get a practice under their belts. We're back under our home, our building, under our roof. We're going to have our fans cheering. They're going to pick right back up and get back to Panthers hockey. They're going to take control. They're going to be more physical. And they are going to come out dealing. They really are, guys. So the last couple of stats that I want to throw here is hits this series. It's 45 to 32.5 per game so far in these first 2 games. 45 in favor of the Panthers and the 32.5 for the Maple Leafs. And I've already told you the power plays, the power play opportunities, as well as the face-off percentages and the block shots. I mean, the Panthers have to pick it up a little bit more in terms of being in front of Bobrovsky, because these odd man rushes and these, the really aggressive forechecking is putting Bob in a bad spotlight. And that's the other piece of this. Bob is not playing bad. He's had some incredible saves, but he can only do so much. He can only do so much when there's odd man rushes, when our defense is allowing them to have good looks at the goal and get off some stellar shots. That is what is really killing the Panthers right now. The aggressive forechecking is leading to the Maple Leafs having really, really dangerous chances. And they have been paying off. They've been taking that, scoring at will, unfortunately. So, this is Paul Maurice on William Nylander. May not be anybody better than he is. He has the ability to control the puck and change angles, change directions. He's elite. May not be anybody better than he at it than he is. I can't agree more. Nylander has been the thorn in the Panthers' side right now, and they do not seem to have an answer for him. And they're going to have to find one real quick. Again, they might have to go back to doing what they did in the first round series, which is get aggressive and get physical. Knock these guys off their game by being physical. And this is him on Bobrovsky's play. First game, he didn't really look that great. Last night, Didn't look at him for any of the first three, the goals. You know, he didn't give up a tremendous lot, but the danger chances on the rush, they've been significant, and that's not really Bob's problem. That's not his fault. He believes he's going to be fine, and I think everybody in Panthers Nation should have faith in Bobrovsky because he's going to get better. He's going to bounce back. He knows he's got to be better between the pipes. And Brad Marchand on the Maple Leafs playing right now. They know it's going to be a tough battle. Didn't expect them, to just roll over by any means. They've definitely got, we have our work cut out, and they're playing really well. Well, obviously they are, Brad. You guys are down 0-2, but again, this series is not a runaway for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It might have looked that way in game number 1, but the Panthers picked it up in in the third period. Game number 2, a hell of a lot closer. I would say it was a lot more even. And the Panthers just have some things to figure out, and their stars, their big guys, their goal scorers, their playmakers have to step up, and they have not been doing that. Toronto's doing a little bit to the Panthers of what the Panthers did to the Lightning in their first round series. That's what I'm seeing, and they're taking advantage of those loose puck opportunities in neutral ice and the turnovers and the takeaways, the giveaways, all those things they are taking full advantage of because they know they're faster. They do. But the referees are also kind of hurting the Panthers a little bit, but we can't blame the referees for the calls because the Panthers have done a good job with the penalty kill, but they also are not getting any help from them, especially with that call on Evan Rodriguez for embellishment, which was totally bogus, just totally bogus. But the game tomorrow night, guys, it's going to be a big one. The Panthers need this. They cannot afford to go down 0-3. It's going to be a nail biter. But I think the Panthers are going to be pumped up. The building's going to be rocking. I think it's going to be incredibly loud, probably the loudest it's ever been. Show up in your red, guys. Please, please, please. We cannot let any Toronto fans show up to this game. If they are, you got to be louder than they are. You cannot let their voices be heard. We have to cheer for these guys and boost them up. And again, if I was to pick anybody in this series, I would still have the Panthers. Not because I'm doing Panthers Digest and I'm a big Panthers fan. They're the defending champs. All right, they have the pedigree. Every single one, like a lot of these guys have the playoff experience. They've won a championship with the team last year. I will pick the defending champs over the Leafs right now, especially coming home. But they have to pick up and do better defense, and they have to make sure they put away their danger chances when they're on offense. They have to put that puck in the back of the net and shoot. Don't try to be pretty and don't try to be cute and pass. Shoot the puck at the net. It will go in. Anyways, guys, have your hopes up. I think the Panthers can do great tomorrow night. It's going to be an exciting, loud game. So make sure you put your DVR on record if you can't watch it, guys. I cannot wait. I will be watching it, and I will probably put up a video as soon as the game is over just to kind of give you my take on what we saw, what has happened, and what we're going to look forward to in game number 4. But guys, don't forget, subscribe down below. And I also want you to comment. I want to hear from you. Are you guys nervous about this series? Do you think the Leafs have the Panthers' number in this series right now? Or do you have confidence in the team moving forward to come away with the W for the series and move on to the next round? Let me know what you think, guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next episode of Panthers Digest. Go Cats, baby!